What's up, my friends? Welcome back to the Tears Take. I am recapping the Real Housewives of Orange County season 19, episode 5. It's called The Big Uneasy. The ladies touched down in one of my favorite cities, New Orleans. So I'm excited to see how this trip goes. I also enjoyed this episode because it was a break from them piling on Katie. So I'm excited to hopefully turn a corner in this season. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive in. If you are enjoying the recap, please please leave a comment, subscribe, check out some of my other videos and support the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Now let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to just take you bit by bit, give you the highlights. I'll give you my thoughts along the way, and I want to hear yours, so make sure you comment below. All right, so the episode opens with the ladies getting ready for Gina's housewarming party. Some of the ladies talk about Jenn meeting with Tamra, and Gina shares that Tamra showed Heather a fatty photo of Jenn. Basically, it's a photo before Jenn had her tummy tuck, before she got in, really good shape. And I'm not going to call it a fatty photo for the rest of this episode. They said it like 10 times. I'm just going to start referencing it as the photo. So just wanted to get that out the way. So Tamra arrives to the housewarming, and she says her anxiety is so high after her fight with Jenn. And it's like, girl, you can't be villain and victim. You can't. All of this, woe is me. I can't, Tamra. Just stop. But anyways, as the ladies are coming in, I'm noticing there is not much happening at this party. It's really just like some catered food, and that's it. There's just nothing else. And one thing about Heather, even though she goes over the top, and not everyone needs to do that and have like a tarot card reading or have, someone standing on their head, Heather at least has different activities, and there's enough going on so that you're visually stimulated. You're entertained. You need something. The women were literally just sitting around, and it looked like you invited your girlfriend over for a glass of wine versus like a party. It didn't give party. It gave like, oh shoot, my producer said I have to host a scene. Okay, girls, come over and come eat with me. Anyways, I just wanted to say that because it was just really, it wasn't giving much. It was giving Gina. It was on brand for Gina, right? So as the ladies are still arriving, Tamra is, officially making Teddy her storyline. She's moping around and, oh, I'm so sad, and oh, I'm so anxious, and I'm so worried. And it's like, that's fine. That's valid to be concerned about a friend. But if you are in that, bad of a spot, then maybe you should bow out and not film this season. Maybe you should ask for a reduced role. Don't come around with your like, oh, woe is me act. And honestly, I would have more sympathy if it was somebody who was like a good person, but it's Tamra, and you are clearly grasping at straws for some sort of justification for your terrible behavior. But she's literally every freaking scene. It's Teddy this, Teddy that, Teddy. And it's so like sad. I think it's terrible what she's going through, but it's like, wah, wah, wah. Like, I don't want to hear that in every scene. And again, if you're that sad about it, stop talking about it. And why don't you go by her bedside and like help her out? And I honestly, all this talk about her, you might as well cut her a check. I hope you are. And I hope you're helping to pay for some of these medical expenses, because you're literally using it as a storyline. It's so contrived and gross that it's hard to like feel the way one is supposed to feel when hearing this sad news, right? So, Tamra's doing all of this. I'm worried about Teddy. Wah, wah, wah. Here's the latest update. And, Shannon comes in with a housewarming gift. One of the few people that brought a gift, I think. I don't think everyone did. And it was like 9 lemons in a bowl and something. And, when she came in, she gave her the gift, and Shannon was like, oh, it's nice. It's really nice. And Gina was like, oh, that's it? That's all she had to say? And it's like, are we seriously, if this is season 19 and Gina came on season 13? Like, are you still, and remember her first season, her and Emily were so obsessed with like why doesn't Shannon like me? Why isn't Shannon nice to me? Why doesn't Shannon include me? Like, they were so like, they were such pick-me's for like Shannon and like the Tres Amigos. Like, they wanted to be part of that so bad. And I'm still getting that from Gina. Like, what did you want Shannon to do? She came in, she brought a gift, she complimented your house. Your house is honestly, Gina, really basic for Orange County. It's very nice. I'm not saying you're living in a shack. It's a nice house, but that's what it is. It's nice. There wasn't any wow factor to it. I'm confused what you wanted her to do. Did you want her to like do a cartwheel? Did you want her to like kiss you on the face? Like, what did you want besides, here's your gift, your house is nice, thanks for inviting me? Comment below if you feel the same way or if you think Shannon should have done more. But I think what she did was very appropriate. As they were talking about this photo, Shannon says in a confessional that she doesn't think Tamra does anything innocently, because Heather was trying to almost take up for her and almost say like, hey, there's two sides to every story. Like, we don't know her intentions. I don't think her intentions were bad. I think she was just showing. It's just like, enough, Heather. Y'all know how I feel about Heather. Watch the last recap if you don't. But, you know, she's just always trying to play devil's advocate for Tamra, even though we all know she's a terrible person. And so Shannon says in the confessional that Tamra doesn't do anything innocently. And as Heather continues to enable Tamra's BS, it's only hurting Tamra. Jenn checks Heather for just even engaging Tamra over the photo. And, you know, she's like, Heather, you know how she meant it. You know what she meant. You know the undertone. And Heather's like, oh, no, I think I was really neutral. I'm like, girl. So at this party, there are two groups. One group is Tamra, Gina, Gretchen, and Katie. And Tamra is telling them about her sit down with Jenn. Gretchen says to Tamra, you know, you keep doing the same thing and you don't learn your lesson. And Tamra says, well, you've been coming at me for 12 years. And I'm like, run the tape. We saw how you treated that girl in her first season. Just stop. Gretchen was like, girl, I can't even deal with this. So she excuses herself and she goes to the other group. And as she's leaving, she was like, Tamra, you're delusional. Like, you're delusional. And Gretchen joins the other group of ladies. And as soon as she gets to the other group, Emily's asking Gretchen, oh, did you apologize to Tamra? And I'm like, when did you become Tamra's mouthpiece? When did you become her bodyguard? Pipe down, Emily. I'm so sick of you. Ugh. So she's like, oh, did you apologize? Okay, apology, please. She was like, well, she wanted her to apologize for whatever Facebook post that Gretchen did that got Tamra upset. And she was like, well, you would be the bigger person. And Gretchen said she's tired of being the bigger person. She wants to stoop down to Tamra's level and see how she likes it. And I said, that's fair. So then Gina gives everyone a box and pretty much announces that she's going to be hosting them on a trip to New Orleans. And everyone is celebrating. And as everyone's celebrating, Tamra walks away and she's just crying and upset about Teddy because, I mean, honestly, she's been doing that this whole scene. But literally earlier in this scene, she had mentioned that she went to the Super Bowl with Teddy in New Orleans, and Teddy had some sort of dizzy spell and fell down the steps. I don't know. He got, I guess, emotional just hearing New Orleans. So in the next scene, Jenn and Ryan go to the gym and they're working out. Jenn talked about how, she's like in her, trying to get in shape for her wedding. And I miss my wedding routine. I was snatched. I was getting it. Like, it got to the point where my dress tailor was like, you need to stop losing weight. Like, we're getting too close. Like, and I said, oh, get me the Cheetos. Like, I'm good. It was so great. Anyways, I miss working out just to like build up to something. So, so in her confessional, Jenn was saying, that there are so many people that deal with body image issues, and women just have their own insecurities. And it was just really gross that Tamra would even try to showcase pictures of like, oh, this is what she really looks like. And it's like, girl, should we show what you would really look like without your 8 facelifts? Like, you get a facelift every other year. So do you really want to talk about someone else before surgery? Stop. And as they're talking, they talk about, just family life and managing the kids. And Ryan says, it's been hard balancing things with Jen's ex because he hasn't paid his child support. And it's just something that is like, obviously really hard. They have a lot of kids. So then we see Gina visiting Shannon and they talk about dating. And of course, Gina then brings up Tamra again. And Shannon said, that just shows the hypocrisy and meanness of Tamra. I'm like, essentially. Gina says in her confessional that Tamra's behavior does not scream growth. For someone that says, I've grown and I've learned and I'm in therapy, like then you go around and show these pictures of someone. Yeah, that's the exact opposite. Gina shares that Travis's ex stopped sending their son to school for the past 3 weeks. And Gina doesn't know if she can emotionally handle this the rest of her life. And I'm like, girl, you might want to figure that out. It's been, what, 4 years with Travis? It's been a minute. So it's like, are you in it or not? You do these, it's back and forth. You move in, you kick them out, you move back in, you start a business. Now you don't know if you can handle it the rest of your life. You might want to figure that out before you start building businesses and before you lock in even more. I think it's completely fair if you're like, this is a deal breaker, I'm not dealing with your drama. But if you do take that on, I don't want to hear about it anymore. You signed up for it at that point, and like if you're in it, you're in it. And if you're not, you're not. But I'm so sick of this limbo stage because this is now the second or third year of this storyline of like, we don't know what to do because of his ex. And like, figure it out. I don't know. I feel like Gina maybe just need to go beat her ass. I don't know. This lady sounds like she needs to get slapped one good time and then maybe she'll know how to act. I'm just saying. But I don't condone violence or anything. So we see the ladies traveling to Nolans and they break up into groups just so they can all travel first class and have nonstop flights. And this is what I'm talking about when we see, the travel and lodging arrangements and how they differ across franchises. Because I feel like had this been like Atlanta, they would have just put the girls in coach. But for like certain franchises, they will gladly split them up into groups to accommodate them or get them a private jet or get them a private plane. It's very interesting. So they split up into groups. They end up staying at the Four Seasons in New Orleans. And I'm like, okay, Gina, okay, production. Good job so far. So they go on a riverboat and they were doing a little bit of trivia and trying to guess like which river they were on. And I correctly guessed that it was Mississippi River. So I was like, yay me. Emily tells Gina, Katie, and Gretchen that Shannon keeps telling Jenn not to make up with Tamra so that Shannon has somebody on her side still against Tamra. And I can see that. I feel like Shannon is really into the show and I can see her trying to produce behind the scenes, not as much as Tamra. I think, Tamra is numero uno in trying to manipulate and do things behind the scenes. But I think Shannon, because she doesn't really have an identity outside of Housewives, like many of these women, but I think she hangs on to it so much and will try to maneuver the situation as much as she can. And I think I can definitely see her telling Jenn, don't roll on me, don't leave me out to dry, be on my side pretty much against Tamra. I can see that for sure. Then we see group 2 landing and making their way through the airport, and they're like, they have so many bags, and it's bags on top of bags, and bags are falling off the carrier. And I'm just so sick of that shtick of like, oh, I just overpacked. Like, at this point, y'all travel all the time. So you should have a routine down that you can still pack the things that make you feel great and maybe a few extra options without having like 10 suitcases for a matter of 3 days. Like, I think it just looks ridiculous at this point. So Katie visits Jenn's room. Gina visits Tamra. Tamra says she's nervous to go out with everyone. Like, she just doesn't know what's going to come at her. And I'm like, you're the one that is always firing after people. You're the one always bringing up stuff. You're the one always stirring the pot. Are we living in reality right now? I cannot with Tamra. I cannot. So, Tamra's on her bull. I don't know what she's on. And then Katie tells Jenn that the photos came up again, and how it contradicts anything that Tamra said that she's working on. Gina, then we're back at Gina, and Gina's just trying to placate Tamra. And she's like, let's just have a good night. I think if we do our best to have fun tonight, then we're going to have it's going to bring on more good vibes and good nights to come. And so Tamra agreed to that. So then the women are driving on their way to the restaurant. And why is Shannon's crotch on my screen? I think that was really disgusting. No one wants to see a blurred out 65-year-old woman's crotch. Like, that was disgusting. I don't understand how it was funny. I don't understand how it was, oh, Shannon. Like, some of these women, I can't. But it was like, okay, I don't see it being funny, but sure. So they get to the restaurant, and they talk about traveling without kids. And Gina asked Jenn, who has her kids. And she said, Ryan, even though it's her ex's weekend to have the kids, they're still with Ryan. And Heather asked, how does the two men interact? And Jenn said up until now they haven't really interacted, but Ryan told Will to pay his child support, and Will said he's doing the best that he can. And I'm like, okay, well, try harder. And Jenn's worried that that's going to set them back because her ex likes to punish her. And so, she's just worried about like how he's going to react to Ryan stepping in. I was just like, I don't have time for this. I do not have time for this. And did Ryan get a job? Because didn't he not have a job last year? Oh my God. The world these people live in. Katie can relate to what Jenn's going through, but luckily her husband just is a great provider, and they choose to just provide on their own rather than waiting for Katie's ex to contribute, because they're kind of in the same boat. His ex has been contacting her son and her ex-husband. Absolutely not. Gina, you need to square up with this woman. I'm so confused. I don't know how she's been running amok all this time. She needs to be checked, and she needs to be checked well. I'm so confused how y'all just let her wreak havoc on your life. No, absolutely not. Gretchen gets up to go to the bathroom, and as soon as she gets up, here goes Emily telling Tamra, oh, I think you guys should talk. Emily, why don't you get some business of your own? You literally have nothing else going on when it comes to these women except to just be annoying. Bring something else to the table. Bring some business of your own. Ugh. So as she's trying to get Tamra, like, oh, you should talk to Gretchen, Gina was like, let's just have fun tonight. Like, let's not even go there. So we see so then they have a few more things that they talk about. They talk about Shannon dating. They talk about sex and, sex tapes and who's made one, who hasn't. And Katie says that she has made one. And then here goes Shannon being the Debbie Downer and trying to throw a jab. She's like, oh, of course, because you like to record things. And it's like, womp womp. I'm glad that it didn't turn into a bigger argument, or I'm glad they didn't show the argument if it did lead to that, because it just, I'm over it. So, it seems like, I don't think it went anywhere because it seems like they had a pretty good night. And then after having like this sex conversation, Jenn says that her vagina doesn't Jen says her vagina doesn't work. She said that because she had pelvic floor surgery, like now only the tip can go in. I don't know. That sounds so sad. And I'm like, Jen, you need to get that opened up. I don't know. I've never heard of that. That sounds like not fun. And they were like, they were joking, like, man, Ryan's a saint. Like, he's taking in all these kids. He doesn't have a functioning vagina in the house. Like, they were like, girl, your mouth must be tired. So, God bless you, Jen. So we are, finishing up the episode. Gina is just so happy that the night did not go off the rails. And she was like, oh my gosh, it was such a fun night. I'm just so glad everything went well. And then we see editing that says, fast forward 24 hours. And that's pretty much when all ish hits the fan. People are arguing. We'll see more of it next week. That's really all of what happened this episode. While I think the ladies have some interesting things happening outside of the group, there's not a lot happening within the group. And so people are getting really stuck on these like minor beefs that don't really have legs, and it's people that are kind of piling on the Gretchen versus Tamra, and piling on Katie, and like, I don't know, there needs to be a little bit more of a shakeup, and just so we have something more to sink our teeth into, because some of these things, it's becoming really repetitive. This is now episode 5, and now they're just taking like these past arguments from the past 4 episodes, and now they're just arguing about them in New Orleans. So we shall see. Like I said, I feel like it's turning a corner. I hope it continues to do so. I want to hear from you, though. Let me know your thoughts on the episode. Let me know if you are grateful for the break of piling on Katie, and how you feel about Tamra making Teddy her storyline, and Emily getting in everyone's business and not having any of her own. I want to hear from you. Let me know. I appreciate you watching. Please tune in next time, and I'll see you in the next video. Mwah. Bye.